Just in the last hour or so, so many more of these have started sprouting on the tops. So probably the number one question I'm going to be getting is, what do you do with these sprouts? Hey guys, I am super excited to bring you this video. It's the result of a lot of time filming and editing, as you will see. Just for some backstory, I guess a year or two ago I started buying like sprouts and microgreens from some different vendors at our local farmers market, and they never seemed to come for the whole season. So I would start buying from a vendor weekly, and then they would stop coming to the farmers market, or they wouldn't come every week. Or the one this past summer, like they were supposed to be a microgreens company, but really they were bringing like dog treats, and they would have like 3 sad little bags of microgreens, and then the rest of the time was dog treats. So not only that, but they're pretty expensive considering what they are. And so I kind of realized like I could probably just grow these myself somehow. They seem pretty easy to grow, and probably for much less than what I'm paying for a little plastic bag of them, I could probably just grow my own. So I got a kit, as you will see. I'll have a link to it down below, but I've been using that. It grows out of a kind of a plastic tray that sits in a little bamboo thing, and that works really, really well. I also recently have started growing sprouts in a glass jar. It's amazing. They just grow out of literally nothing, but I'm working on a video for that as well. So if you enjoy this one, be sure to give it a thumbs up and let me know if you like sprouting content, because I will probably have another one soon. The first thing we're going to do is put our seeds in half a cup of water. This is my first time using this brand and type of seeds. These are Nature Jim's alfalfa sprout seeds. So I'm gonna just do it the same way that I had done the ones that came with the kit, and I think I'm gonna do about a tablespoon of seeds and just dump them in the water and make sure they all get wet and start soaking. All right, while those are soaking for a while, I'm gonna take my tray. So this is just a plain white plastic tray, and then there's this little insert piece that's sort of raised up. So when you put it in here, we're gonna fill this with water up to the level of these holes. And basically this thing's just gonna be self-watering. So you'll see how this works with the mat in a moment, but basically we just gotta fill this up, and that's gonna be all the water that it gets for the whole time that these things are growing. Okay, so I filled it so that the water comes right to the top of this tray. And now I'm going to put in my hemp mat. So this is the material that our seeds will grow in. And you see it has a white side and a tan side. So we're gonna just put it both ways so that it gets totally, it totally absorbs the water. There's all kinds of materials that you can grow sprouts in. I'm gonna try another method where they just grow loose in a jar. You can grow them on a paper towel. You can grow them on like reusable plastic or silicone mats or screens or metal screens. So I'd like to try some other methods rather than these hemp mats. They are compostable, but they're not reusable. So it's something that you'd have to keep repurchasing, and I'd rather have something that's, more reusable. So if you notice, I tucked the edges here into the water, so that's gonna keep the water constantly wicking up into this area where the sprouts are gonna be growing. And so like I said, we won't have to water this at all the whole time that they're growing. So now that the tray's all set up, I'm gonna pour in my seeds that have been soaking here, along with all the water they were soaking in, and just try to get them spread as evenly as possible around this mat. And the thing with these little seeds is they just stick to everything. So you just have to accept that you're probably not going to get every single seed. There's going to be some that are just going to be stuck in the jar or stuck on your hands or stuck on something. But again, I'm just going to kind of try to spread them out on this mat as much as possible. So this little bamboo box that the tray goes in was just part of the kit that I got. You certainly don't need something like this. It's just kind of decorative in this case, and it gives the lid something to latch onto. So we're just going to cover this now and let it sit. There's a couple little air holes in here, so otherwise if you covered it with something more solid, you would just kind of leave it askew so that you could have some air circulation. But it's just going to sit here now in the dark for 3 days, and being in the darkness like this is going to kind of force the sprouts to really start growing. So just a little update. It's been like a day and a half, and I just wanted to give you a peek. So they are starting to sprout here, but we're just gonna continue to keep them covered for another day or so. Okay, so it has now been 3 days, even though it's nighttime now. I'm gonna uncover this. Oh, look at all that growth. So one of the things that they mention, and I'm not really seeing this too much here, but they do say you might see like some fuzziness in the bottom of this, and it's not mold, it's part of the sprouts. So I don't really see that, but I'm just gonna now leave this uncovered. I'm gonna put the lid underneath the box, and now this will just sit here for a few more days, and the window's over here so it will absorb the sunlight. All right, so I'm just doing a little check-in here. These were started about 5 days ago, and I just uncovered the box like a day and a half ago, and you can see they're already, you know, taller than the edge of the box. You'll also notice that they are kind of pointing this way because that's where the window is. So over the course of the day, they just sort of bend. So what I like to do is throughout the day, I'll just spin this thing around, and that way they'll start tilting themselves the other way to reach the sun again. I also feel like this was the first time that I was sprouting the seeds from like a big bag instead of a pre-portioned, you know, pre-measured little set from a kit, and I think I probably did too many all at once. These are very densely packed, so that was like a tablespoon of seeds. So in the future, maybe like half a tablespoon, you know, 1.5 teaspoons will probably be better for this size tray. But they seem to be doing well, and I mean, they're growing so quickly. Like I said, it's only been a couple days since I uncovered them, and you know, you're supposed to go about 5 days, but I feel like I could probably harvest these sooner than that. So it's been a week since I first started these guys, and about 4 days since I uncovered them. I was hoping to harvest them tomorrow, but I might have to do it today because just in the last hour or so, so many more of these have started sprouting on the top. So we'll see, but my plan is still hopefully to do it tomorrow. All right, so I planted these 1 week ago last night. It's now the next morning, and they are fully sprouted. I really need to harvest these today. I was hoping to do one more day, but I really need to harvest them today because they're really almost like overgrown at this point. I will say again, this is probably a little too dense to pack them. This was the first time that I wasn't using like pre-portioned seeds, so if I do this again, definitely less than a tablespoon for this. But so the nice thing about this tray is I never had to water them or do anything else. You can see there's still some water in the tray. It's kind of brown just from that brown mat that they were on, but I'm just gonna dump the extra water and then kind of lay out the mat and cut these off of it. So there's actually tools you can get to just kind of like mow these down, but I just use a pair of kitchen shears and I'll just keep them in like a little plastic container, and so I just kind of start trimming, just grab them and trim them, and just cut them off in chunks and put them in my box. So you can see here, some of them do kind of pull out with their root attached, and I think that's fine. But for the most part, I'm cutting them off, and then the roots have actually come out through the underside of the hemp mat. So unfortunately, that means we can't really reuse these mats, but there are other reusable types of mediums that, that you can grow these on. So here is my harvest. I kept saying it, but I grew way too many, so this is gonna be plenty of sprouts for a while. And then the mat that has the little, you know, stems and roots in it, this whole thing can just go into my compost bin. So probably the #1 question I'm gonna be getting is, what do you do with these sprouts? You can really put them on anything, like a sandwich, a salad, but the thing that I like to use them for is to sprinkle on top of my avocado toast or avocado naan bread like a good millennial.